What's going on, family? Samuel Genus here with Predict Your Business. I'm coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. I'm here with my wife and my brother-in-law and my sister. And we just checked into the hotel here in Kingston. We wanted to get out and walk to Emancipation Park. What I want to talk to you about in this video is basically the dangers of isolation. I was having a conversation with my fam as we were driving from Negril back to Montego Bay. We was talking about, why certain cultures advance and other cultures do not. Anybody who hangs out with me, they know that nice little wedding going on right there. Pretty nice. I love seeing people get married. Put that in there. Y'all see that in the background? But basically, for people who know me, if you're around me, we're going to have some really good discussions and some deep discussions. I'm not a shallow person at all. I don't mind having shallow conversation, but I can't do that for long. I gotta go deep. I don't mind surface level conversation. Eventually we gotta go deep, and we gotta talk about some things that really matter. There go my wife and sister and her husband right in the background right there. Kind of see them. When we look at the current conditions of nations and cultures, we see that some nations advanced while other nations didn't advance so much. Some nations are still riding on mules while other nations are flying jets. We got some countries that are living in trees while others are living in tall buildings. Like here's a tall building, right behind me called the Pegasus. Why does this happen? I strongly believe, based on the things that I've studied, the conversations that I've had, and my own personal experience, is that it has to do with location. I'm not saying that location is the only thing, but I think it starts off with location, where you live. Many people take for granted where they live. Here, even in Jamaica, there are places that are more prosperous than others. You're not surrounded by people who are deep thinkers and scholars and things of that nature. Yes, you're around your family, but you're not connected to the rest of humanity. Location in and of itself is not necessarily bad, but when your location has isolated you from the rest of humanity, yeah, that's a problem. If you happen to be on an island and it's just you and 10 people, meanwhile you live in a world with 7 billion people or something like that, right? But you live on an island and there's only 10 people. Heck, there's only 1,000 people on that island. You're only going to be as smart as the smartest person on that island, right? And if you don't have access to the rest of those 7 billion people, chances are you're not going to advance as everybody else. What many people fail to realize is that we benefit from the collective. Everything you see around me wasn't built today. It was built by the collective understanding of humanity within this particular location. You can't expect to build a building that's 100 stories tall if the people you are around don't have the knowledge or the capability to do so. One person may be the architect, another person may be the scientist, another person may be the builder, another person may be the foreman, another person may be the engineer. It takes a collective. And so when you find yourself in a location where you're isolated from other intelligent people, when you're in a position where you're not sharing knowledge, you affect your own growth. It limits what you're capable of doing. It limits solutions because you don't have the collective. Have you ever been trying to solve a problem and you couldn't solve it, but then you had a friend and you was able to solve it? That's the beauty of not being isolated. And when I travel and when I look at different places, I realize that a lot of people are limited. They're not able to accomplish certain things simply because they're isolated. One of the biggest problems that I see is isolation by your own decisions. It's when you are surrounded by capable people, when you are surrounded by wise people, when you are surrounded by people who actually have answers. You made a decision not to connect with those people, right? When you make decisions like that, not to connect with certain people who could actually benefit you, you're sabotaging your own growth. I think that's so important for us to realize. When you sabotage your own growth simply because you failed to connect, you failed to go to that networking event, you failed to go to that school. You failed to go to that meeting. I never know what I'm going to learn from another intelligent human being. We went through a few towns trying to get here from Montego Bay to Kingston, and he was like, man, this area looks so 1970s. And it's only because they didn't advance, because we're living in the digital age. It's 2019. We're living in the age where people, are doing great and amazing things, right? But yet there are communities that still gotta travel a mile just to get water. And this is not a knock on any community. I'm just simply showing you that this is what happens when you isolate yourself. This is what happens when you don't have connections with other people. This is also what happens when there's greed, corruption, hatred, right? Stuff like that. So I'm not trying to say everything is the result of location. There's a great deal of things that's the result of bad leadership, bad government. I think Boyce Watkins talks about, he says, sometimes black people participate in their own destruction. And I believe that. We don't always do that, but we gotta watch our behavior, because sometimes we can do things that will destroy us, right? And then we'll want to blame everybody else, right? Make sure that you evaluate your location. Sometimes you just have to move, because the location you're at, it's just not productive. It's not progressive. It's not moving. It's not moving forward. It's almost like stagnant. And when water becomes stagnant, guess what? More mosquitoes are there. It starts to turn colors, right? Things can't really live there because it's stagnant. I was speaking to a lady that we met at the restaurant, and she was talking about how she was living in one location of Jamaica, and but it wasn't enough jobs there. It wasn't enough, she wasn't able to survive, make enough money to take care of herself. So she had to, relocate to Montego Bay, right? And, there was tourists there. She was able to get a job and stuff like that. And that's what I'm talking about. Know when it's time to move. Know when it's time to actually, get out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Pack up your stuff and go. It's all about your survival. It's all about making progress and moving forward and advancing, all right? Don't stay in a location that's not progressive. The biggest is all about is about your psyche, because they lock you up, they isolate you. And the world goes by while you're still stuck. And by the time you come out of that prison, guess what? 10 years has passed, 15, 20 years has passed, and you're like, wow, it's a completely new world. Now you're left behind. Now you got to catch up as fast as possible. That's the danger of isolation, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to encourage you, don't be isolated, because if you isolate yourself, you're only going to be as smart as the smartest person in your isolation. We all move up. If you look at history, you will discover that the smartest people in the world were people who were around a lot of other people. It was people who shared ideas, shared culture, shared music, shared poetry, shared books, shared religious ideas and stuff like that. They were the smartest and the intelligent and the richest ones in the room, because they had vast networks, all right? So this is very, very important. I'm going to end now because I need to hang out with the rest of my fam, but I wanted to put this video in real quick. Don't limit yourself. Stay away from isolation. This is Samuel Genus. Don't forget, I'm with Predict Your Business, but don't forget to click on the link below. You're going to see a link where you can sign up for UShare 360 back office, where you can manage your contacts, manage your invoices, manage your email campaigns, marketing funnels, websites, projects, and your billing. You can handle all that with this system. Click on the link below. This is not a free trial. You can have this software for free, right? Click on the link, sign up. We have webinars every week where we show you how to use the platform. We have people and consultants who can build your websites, build your marketing funnels, help you come up with creative strategies for your business so that you can grow and expand. Again, Samuel Genus with Predict Your Business. I will see you in the next video. Take care.